RotoGrinders Today. I'm Jordan Cooper, a.k.a. BlenderHD. You're going to follow me on Twitter. And it's Tuesday, May 21st. We'll be taking a look at the 8-game, or probably maybe 7-game MLB slate tonight on DraftKings. And hit that thumbs up button on your way in the door. Hit the subscribe button if you're new here. Hit the notification bell to know when we go live. Join. Every once in a while, we get morning Carty. We get. I know your mornings are typically busy. You know, giving out all of the prop bets. So I can't. I hope I got them beforehand, because once you give them out, value God, it's good. It just goes. It just goes and goes and goes. So Derek Carty, if you want to get his bat projections here at RotoGrinders, that's an add-on that as I always say, I would suggest, if I was truthful, but in all reality, I'd rather people not use the bat projections, because that I want to hold the edge for myself. So that's my weird way of advertising it, of saying I like the bat projections. I wish other people I wish they weren't so good, Carty. No, actually, no. I take that back. I wish
they weren't so well known.
Yeah, that's the way to put it. I wish they weren't so popular. That's a good thing. So, Carty, before we talk about the slate, I wanted to ask you, because me and James have been talking about it the past 2 weeks. James McCool. I wanted to get your thoughts, since you don't come on. You come on maybe once, maybe a month or so. So it's a rare treat to have you here in the morning. This new StatCast bat tracking data that they started this year. We got last week. They kind of you can go on Baseball Savant. We've been playing around with these little tools, and how the bat speed affects who does well and who doesn't do well. Of course, Carty, Cheese, Dave Potts. He may be the smartest one out of the bunch. That he basically said, bat goes fast, bat ball hit far. It's not I don't know what we're doing here. I'm not sure if you're going to be able to find anything. But I'm not sure if you've talked about it on shows.
Not yet.
Not yet. Oh. So what generally, what do you think that any of this matters?
Yeah, no, I'm actually super excited about this. I think this is going to matter a lot. I mean, to this point, for pitchers, we have fastball velocity, and we have, all sort of stuff plus metrics now and stuff, where we can kind of get on a granular level and see, okay, this pitcher's doing this. This is kind of why he's being successful. Oh, his velocity's up 4 miles per hour this year. That's why his strikeouts have spiked. That kind of stuff we have for pitchers, and we've never had that for hitters. We have barrels and we have exit velocity and whatever, but it's not the same thing. The main benefit of this new stuff is that it stabilizes it extremely quickly. If a pitcher throws a 98 mile per hour fastball, he didn't do that by accident. We can't say, well, it's a small sample size. It's just one pitch. Maybe he's really an 85 mile per hour guy. No, he's not. He's a 90 something, We don't have that for hitters, but with bat speed, now we do. So it may tell us something similar to what barrels or exit velocity do, but it's going to tell us a lot quicker, which I think is really, really important. And once we get into future years, right now, we only have data for a month and a half of baseball. They don't have it tracked for previous years. We're never going to get that. But once we get to next year, the year after, and we can see guys that are actually making changes, their bat speed's going up or down, we're going to have a great tool to quickly identify changes in talent level.
Well, also, me and James have been looking at it. It's not just bat speed, because they're tracking the speed.
Things, yeah.
Right, because they're tracking the speed of the bat, but dude, anyone could swing really fast and never hit the ball. It doesn't wow, his bat speed is up, but what's his contact rate? What's his good contact rate? Yeah, right, because there are plenty of people that swing the bat really fast and don't get good pieces of the ball. So it's not just bat speed. I mean, we found like guys like Mookie Betts, who his average bat speed is actually quite low and his contact rate is quite high. You would think that but he hits home runs also. You'd think that he would be the slap hitter, but he's hitting home runs. No one has to say that, well, Stanton swings the ball, swings the bat fast. I mean, he does, and he hits a lot of home runs. But it's like this mid-range. Like we've been looking through, is like average bat speed almost doesn't matter. It's what is the bat speed when you hit the ball well versus your bat speed when you don't hit the ball well. And we've been theorizing that there are batters. For instance, we've been taking a look. Like I'll show on the screen to you because this is kind of what we've been doing. I mean, just to make hypotheses, like in our head of just like what can we possibly get out of this. So we have Mookie Betts here, right, and then we have like Juan Soto, and we can we at least come to an agreement that these are two of the best players. These aren't schlubs. Two of the best players in the majors, right? But look how normally distributed Soto's bat speed is compared to his contact rate. So, like, he's swinging the bat like around 77 miles an hour more often, but like his tail on both ends are not that different. But Mookie Betts, on the other hand, swings the bat much slower on average and more often, but still has this tail at the high end where he swings the bat anywhere from like 59 miles an hour to 83. I mean, like, it's a very wide thing. While Juan Soto is kind of like, this is how fast I swing the bat, and that's just like, it doesn't matter to him what the pitches are or anything. Like, it kind of just he swings about normal. And then we see tons of batters that have these types of distributions, but maybe they're a little bit lower, a little bit higher, a little bit more spread out.
Yeah. And there are some batters, I've seen some charts where it looks like they have two distinct swings. Like maybe they swing, less in 0-2 counts or something like that. So yeah, there's definitely going to be a lot of nuance to this. It's not just going to be quite as simple as swing bat hard. Like Cheese said, I mean, to an extent, yeah. Like all else equal,
but they're hard. Carty, there are guys like Jorge Soler who swing bat hard, never hit ball. I mean, like,
right, exactly. So there is more to this than there's going to be a lot to dig into with this, and the bigger the data set we get, the easier it's going to be. I wish they had this tracked and they gave us 3 years of back data on it. That would be amazing. But they don't. So for now, we're working with what we have. But I am excited once this data set starts to grow.
And then we have to dig into this type of stuff. And then it comes down to, it's not, I mean, obviously, this is the type of stuff that you work with. I mean, this is the difference between the BAT and the BAT X, right? You're the upgrade, the StatCast type of stuff. What happens, how useful, I don't know how to way of phrasing it, is that, like, we have barrels and exit velocity. Like, is it possible that you could look through all of this and then find out that the correlation between anything you find here is like, well, it's 0.96 to barrel rate. It's like, then you kind of didn't really find anything.
Yeah. So there was actually an article at Fangraphs, I think yesterday, maybe, from Jordan Rosenblum, I think his name is, which kind of looked at how these new metrics, bat speed, swing length, square up rate, whatever, compare to barrel rate, exit velocity, stuff we've already had. What he basically found, and again, the data set is so small at this point, like we're not making any sort of real conclusions off this, but what he sort of found is that like barrel rate still is better, which makes sense. Like it incorporates more things than just bat speed. It incorporates launch angle and it's more robust. But it takes, like 50 times as long to stabilize. So there is value in having these new metrics that we can believe very, very quickly. That's the thing that fantasy players and bettors always want to believe what they just saw. Like, oh, this guy's doing so well this year. He's so hot out of the gate. He must be a new hitter. And really, it's just that he has like a 450 BABIP and he's the same guy and he's just going to, regress. Whereas this now is something where we actually can look and say, okay, it's only been 2 days. This guy's a different hitter.
Right. Swing length. I mean, essentially you could kind of see, you could go into the real deep data and see what types of pitches. Because obviously you have to normalize for some of these things, like where we were looking yesterday on the difference between like 0-2 counts versus 3-0 counts, like the extreme ends of the spectrum, right? And you have to assume that the bat speed is going to be different. The contact rates are going to be like your contact rate, an average hitter's contact rate on 0-2, you would have to theorize has to be lower, right? Good contact rate, like, where it hits in the bat, than a 3-0 pitch where the pitcher's trying to throw the ball over the plate. Not everyone swings at 3-0 pitches, but
when you do, you're probably taking a good hack at it. Yeah.
Right, exactly. I'm assuming that you're going to be swinging hard and you're going to be hitting the ball very well because you're probably going to get a fastball down the middle, reasonably down the middle. While on 0-2, you who knows where the hell the ball's going to go. But yeah, I just wanted to get your initial thoughts since I haven't heard you on or seen you tweet about it.
I'm very excited. I've wanted this data for a long time, and I'm really glad that we have it now.
Okay, so next time you're on, I'll ask you again to see if you found anything.
Okay, sounds good.
Keep me updated. Also, obviously, this type of stuff, just from a bat projection perspective, you wouldn't feel comfortable even if you found something to incorporate this into the bat X projections until probably next year, right?
Right. That's kind of why I haven't dug into this very much yet, because the sample size is still so small that I wouldn't be super comfortable actually building this into a projection yet. Like I want more data before I do that.
Right. And by the time that you figure anything out that you would like hypothesize in 6 weeks worth of data, you'll just do during the off season and then have it incorporated.
Right. Yeah. For next year, this will definitely be in there.
Right. I'm trying to get ahead.
I'm not trying to rush to get it in there.
I'm trying to get ahead, Carty, of the people using the bat projections. And I want this incorporated for me first. So then it's like, so before they get these home run props in and the line moves.
Here's what you want to do. I think the best way to incorporate this now, just given limited data, limited, knowledge of everything of this, I think the most useful way to use this now is to look at short-term trends. So if you have Giancarlo Stanton hits the ball 80 miles per hour from April 1st to May 21st, and over the next 3 days, all of a sudden he's swinging 75 miles per hour. Maybe I want to take some Stanton unders. Maybe Stanton is playing injured. Maybe some, that's the kind of thing that I think we can really get immediate value from it with.
Okay, that sounds reasonable. Well, maybe we'll get some immediate value today on the 8-game MLB DFS slate. The Baltimore-St. Louis game is iffy as far as weather is concerned. Roth has that as an orange, and obviously you want to get Roth's updated weather information. You got to tune into Crunch Time. That's later today before lock. And then we have obviously the Braves-Cubs game, which is yellow. That, maybe some light rain or something, but winds out to left at like 20 to 25 miles an hour. So once
which in Wrigley is like 100.
Right. That's why once I saw this, the first thing I always check before the show is the weather report. I use this as like a first look. So it's like I didn't do any research, beforehand. But once I see winds out to left at 25 miles an hour, I'm like, let's take a look at those stack projections in the bat, baby. And there you go. Best point per dollar and highest ceiling, Braves and Cubs. And the game isn't like that ridiculous high total. It's like a 10.5, which is high for Wrigley. That signifies, but we've also seen 12s and 13s in Wrigley. Is it a basis of that these two pitchers are not like awful? And people would say that the bat has it in for Javier Assad. Because isn't he like the ERA leader or something? Like, hasn't he like given up the least amount of runs?
Is that
it's
true?
not like
Because he's not good. Has he actually?
That's what I wanted to ask you. It's
Oh
like,
my god, yeah, his ERA is 1.49, but like his xFIP is like 4, and yeah, so
which isn't that
maybe the
good
bat has it in for Javier.
Javier Assad, Carty, an xFIP of 4 is it awful, right?
No, it's not terrible. It's not. That's still probably overstating his talent level. I mean, he has the lowest strikeout rate he's had since like single A or something, I think. Like the walks are going to come up, the xFIP's going to come up. Obviously, the BABIP is coming up. He's going to start allowing home runs. Javier Assad's like an above average pitcher, something like that. So if the public thinks he's better than that, well, that's why I guess the bat will hate him.
Right. Also, he a lot of times only pitches, 80, 85.
Yeah, it doesn't go very deep.
Sometimes. Yeah. Sometimes they do leave him in for 100. Sometimes he's gotten up to
they can
95, 100, but it's like it's all over the place. I'm obviously not saying that I'm probably not going to play Charlie Morton and Javier Assad in DFS today.
No.
On an 8-game slate with the highest total. I mean, that is like the two highest team total teams are the Braves and the Cubs. The Astros are almost right there. The bat would look at like Lance Lynn. We got an issue with Lance Lynn is that he may be in a game that that may be. I mean, it literally maybe is postponed by the time Grinders Live is on later tonight, and that we're taking out some pitchers to use. This is the guy that I would plant my flag on, only because the bat always seems to hate this guy, and I go by the rule, Carty. When the bat typically hates a guy and he projects really well, that says something. And also when it's a guy that the bat really likes, like in the past, it's like, okay, Drew Smiley's pitching. Let's see how he's projected for 17 trillion points. And then on the days where it's like projected for like a below average, I'm like, yeah, this is totally the day to stack against him. Clark Schmidt at home in Yankee Stadium against Seattle, 8,400. Is this more due to matchup because the Mariners have such a high strikeout rate?
So I'm actually, I was trying to figure this one out because the Mariners strikeout rate, they're leading the majors in strikeout rate this year, and the bat doesn't believe that. It thinks they're more like 6th, 7th with strikeout.
And true talent, the bat has to actually believe what happened.
Yeah, like true talent. I think they're more like
semantics here. It's like the bat actually believes that it's not like the moon landing or something. Like it happened, right? It just doesn't believe that that's sustainable. Like that's their true strikeout rate.
Right, exactly. So yeah, and I think it's actually probably a little too low on Clark Schmidt. Like he has improved his stuff this year, which is not built into the bat yet. So it's probably even a little low on him. So that it likes him and that it's kind of, very reasonable on him and on the Mariners strikeout rate, I think definitely says something. I think he's very appealing today.
And then we got the cheapies that are both pitching against each other. I mean, when you take a look at the total is what? 7.5. I expected lower. When you have Colorado going into Oakland, like that just seems like the recipe to like. I don't care if the mascot's pitching. Like I may want to take both. If both mascots were pitching this game and they were 4K, like a relief pitcher,
they'd take some serious interest. Yeah,
but I mean, Aaron Brooks and Cal Quantrill are not like strikeout pitchers at all.
Right.
I mean,
but it's not like this slate has a lot of good pitching on it anyway. So, like, is there really that much difference between Cal Quantrill and, Christian Javier or Kyle Bradish or like?
Yeah, but they have strike. I mean, you could play.
I mean, upside wise, talent wise, sure.
That's the point that I'm making. It's like from a variance perspective. I mean, Christian Javier, he could strike out a bunch of batters. Brandon Ford could strike out a bunch of batters. Bradish, Crochet. I mean, truthfully, Brian Wu. I mean, Brian Wu to some extent. I mean, Kikuchi is up there against the White Sox. But of course, these are also guys that their range of outcomes is much wider. Like, but I'd much rather play Kyle Quantrill to like Casey Mize.
For sure.
Right, against KC for a little bit cheaper. Right. Yeah, but you are right. A lot of like we have a lot of like not high even strikeout, other than like Clark. Like I would love to play Clark Schmidt and Kikuchi together.
Yeah.
Like that would be like from an upside perspective, the best choice. But if you're looking to like stack the Braves or stack the Astros or one of the more expensive teams, even I mean, truthfully, even the Cubs is going to be fairly expensive. Saving $2,500 something at pitcher to play Quantrill or Brooks on a slate where it's quite possible that maybe only one pitcher gets over like 25 points or something.
That's very
like
possible.
Getting a solid like 15, 16 out of like a 6K pitcher, like I think that may be fine.
Yeah, I think it's definitely fine.
So would you lean more towards? I mean, if we take a look, I mean, these are 1036. I mean, you've probably updated this a little. I mean, it's obviously going to like Lance Lynn. It's just we're not sure if that game even plays. Because like the optimal here on the bat is basically, I mean, basically it's a 5-3 break. I mean, it's just like when the Coors. This year the Rockies aren't very good teams, so even when there are Coors games, like you barely even get Rockies because they're just so bad. But here, like Allison, Albies, Kellenic, Ozuna, Acuna, and you play the cheap, Quantrill at 6K.
I mean, I love the hitting you get with it. I really don't mind doing that. It's a great matchup for Quantrill. He's not very good, but is it worth spending an extra 2 or 3K on somebody who, I mean, honestly, on average, probably isn't going to be that much better? I don't think I want to do that. I'll just take the bats and and go with Quantrill probably, unless I want to go Schmidt. Schmidt, I think you could do Kikuchi Schmidt instead. But I think that's kind of what you're deciding between today, at least in cash.
Right. I mean, for like cash games, I guess, yeah, you're gonna. Is Dansby Swanson only 2,800?
He was just on the IL, so I think he's mispriced because he just came off and
okay.
We're asleep.
I didn't realize that. I was like, I looked here and I like 2,800. Did we get it imported wrong? I mean, he's obviously not a $2,800 hitter.
No, he's significantly better than that.
Right. So that's gonna. I mean, welcome to Chalk City on this slate. Why wouldn't you? Even as a one-off, I mean. Dansby Swanson one-off at 2,800. Who else are you going to play? You're going to be playing the mascot of one of the teams at that, especially at shortstop. Oh, I didn't even realize that's going to make things. Yeah, that's going to increase. That's going to increase ownership on a bunch. Yeah, it makes it almost too easy to play. You may not even have to play Quantrill at 6K.
Right. No, there's definitely good lineups that get a whole bunch of that Cubs Braves game with Kikuchi and Schmidt.
So what's going on with like guys like Crochet, for instance, because he came out hot and he's facing Toronto, so that's upside. I'm trying to see like what other pitchers that we would consider playing in GPPs.
I think Crochet for sure. I mean, Toronto's kind of had their struggles this year, and I think they're significantly better than they've played. But Crochet might be the best, just pure talent-wise pitcher on this slate. His stuff's great. His upside's huge, even if the matchup isn't great. He's expensive, but he's one of the few guys on this slate that, like, if he got 12 Ks, I wouldn't really be surprised.
How about Javier? Javier had a good outing last outing. He's facing the Angels. But
yeah, Javier could. I guess Bradish could.
Well, Bradish is also in the game that's probably going to get postponed.
Oh, so right. Yeah, he's not even.
You're probably going to play that. But understand with Javier, you're playing. It's Russian roulette with Javier. I mean, like you could play him and he gets 7, 8 strikeouts over 6 innings with only like 2 hits and 1 walk, or he's out within 5 outs because he's walked 6 guys and he can't get the ball over the plate. And I mean, he could be awful at times. But I mean, against the Angels, I mean, the Angels aren't good. I mean,
no.
Even with Trout, they're not good, but without, even less so. So yeah, that's kind of the pitching. How about it from a stack perspective? I mean, do we have to get into the Braves Cubs stuff? If the wind's blowing out, and if they could hit the ball in the air, the ball's just going to go another like 20 extra feet than it should. And if they hit the ball on the ground, you're going to get messages in the bat chat in our Discord that says,
wind is fake. Wind isn't real. Why would the bat think Javier Assad isn't good? He just threw a no-hitter.
But that's the key. Like with these Wrigley Wind games, like they still have to hit the ball in the air, far. Like if Charlie Morton's walking people and Assad's walking people, like and then it's ground balls. I mean, especially Charlie Morton. I mean, it's quite possible the Cubs they put up some runs on the ground, but maybe not through the air.
I mean, we've seen plenty of Wrigley Wind games that don't get there.
Right.
It's
we see Coors games not get there all the time.
What's that?
We see Coors games not get there all the time, even though the ballpark.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, it's obviously the best spot on the slate, but that's not a guarantee of anything.
Okay. I get the sense that the Braves are going to be massively owned.
I would think so. Yeah.
And the Cubs, especially with Swanson being 2,800, is going to be I think this game on an 8-game slate, I would prefer if this was like a 15. All the 640 games are not on the slate. Like there are 6 games on at 640. That apparently the 25 minutes between that, DraftKings is like, well, people aren't home from work in time, I guess, or something like that. I'd much rather have a bigger slate, but outside of the Wrigley game, I mean, what other game? I mean, you could pay the same price for pay up for the Astros, the Dodgers, maybe the Yankees, but other than that, I mean, according to the bat, from a value perspective, comparing point per dollar to ceiling to a good median projection. The Detroit Tigers against Alec March, that doesn't make me feel good.
No, it doesn't. Especially not compared to a Wrigley Wind game. But I mean, honestly, outside of Wrigley, that's probably the type of stuff you're looking at. Obviously, spend up on the Astros, Dodgers, that kind of thing looks great. But playing the Royals, playing the Tigers, playing I mean that stuff's all viable.
The Tigers aren't even cheap. I mean, Riley Green's up to 5,400.
Yeah, he is.
Canha, Perez during the fourth. The Tigers aren't a vomit stack anymore.
Winsel Perez is 4.6K. I mean,
right. Then you got Colt Keith at 2,400. He's cheap in their lineup, but you have to. I mean, Colt Keith. I'm assuming that turns into someone else after two plate appearances when a lefty comes in, right?
I'm actually looking. Is he a pinch hit guy? Yeah, 23% pinch hit risk. So there's definitely a solid chance of that.
What's happened to Javi Baez?
I mean, people always thought he was better than he actually was, and now he's just become worse. So he's done. He's done.
Javier Baez to me it went down the path of Chris Davis, right?
Except I think we saw it coming more with him. I think there weren't really a lot of warning signs with Chris Davis. It just happened. Whereas Baez's decline has been a bit more gradual, I think.
Okay, so we got the bat projections here. Obviously, and we have the RG projections on the site as well. We have all the information in the description. You can click on, become a RotoGrinders Combo Premium member, as well as a BAT subscriber. Do we got? I don't mean to ruin. I already got all my stuff in, so I don't care. You could ruin it, Carty. Feel free to ruin it. So I know you do other shows in the morning. You've given away. I could already see on my screen. What I mean, literally. I mean, it's like 9:30, and I'm like, well, what happened? What happened to the Alex Marsh K prop? I got a lot of CLV there because what good thing I got that in earlier. I mean, like you just look and you. I mean, it's so obvious that someone has absolutely moved this market, and I know exactly who it is because I pay attention to all who moves the market. Is there anything that RotoGrinders Today exclusive props that are still on the board and you haven't ruined yet?
Let me take a quick look at what is actually still on the board. Okay, so this one I haven't ruined because it showed just such ridiculous value to start with. So even though it moved, it's still showing absurd value. Adrian Hauser's strikeout under. Yeah. Some books are 3.5, some books are 2.5. Literally doesn't matter. Any line that's out there right now is going to be good. He hasn't made a real start in like 3 weeks coming out of the bullpen. Low strikeout guy against the low strikeout offense. Probably going to be on a short-ish leash here.
I mean, typically I'm betting Hauser under 3.5, at minus 105 when he makes normal starts.
Yeah. Now the 3.5s now are like minus 180, minus 200.
Right, okay.
Which a lot of people, I think, they just won't bet that because you can't lay that kind of juice. You can when it's projected to win 84% of the time. Minus 200 is still pretty good value.
Right, minus 200 is 66%. If you projected it as 84%, look at the delta between those two.
Yeah,
that's a better edge than some of the ones that you're doing minus 110s on.
Yeah, exactly. But people don't think about it that way, but they should. So I like those. If you want to do the 2.5s, the one I took on the cover show is 2.5 plus 132, I think. Okay. So any of those 2.5s at plus money are good. Certainly any of the 3.5s that are super juiced are good. That's my favorite prop today.
I'm looking at loading up. Everyone likes the home run prop. What's the deal with that? Why does everyone like home run props when
chicks dig the long ball?
I bet home run props, but I don't view batter props like those types of props as something that's something I look at over the course of an entire season, right? Because you're betting I'm betting stolen base props plus 2,200. The whole point of that is that you're getting 22 to 1 on something that is projected to be it should really be 15 to 1, which means that's once every 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So to judge that on small samples is stupid. When
you're betting, you gotta bet them in volume over a long period of time to really.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
So what do we got on the board for? People love that. I'm gonna.
Actually, this year there hasn't been a ton of home run value, but today with this Wrigley wind, it looks like it's not in these lines really. Acuna plus 375 at BetMGM is showing legitimate
what?
Zach Short plus 850 looks good.
I mean, that's not going to happen that often.
No,
from the looks of it,
14% of the time. So
right. Yeah, I don't get my hitter props in until later, till the lineups come out.
Mm-hmm.
Pitcher ones are already in. But,
did you get Musgrove at 5.5 last night?
What?
Did you get Musgrove last night at 5.5? The strikeout under? Okay, yeah. By the time I woke up this morning, he was 4.5 everywhere. Right. I wish I was able to get it on the 5.5.
Right. No, that's why you 1 o'clock in the morning, 12:30, 1 o'clock. You got it.
Yeah.
You get on your computer. There's not that much on the board. It takes me 5 minutes, 7 minutes. I mean, just load up your projections, and I go, what's on the board, and then I go to sleep, and then I wake up in the morning, and hopefully it moved in the right direction and not in the wrong direction. But according to this, it seems like you could bet on everyone's home run prop in that game, and the bat goes, "Yep, that's pretty good, pretty good." I mean, not everyone, but Sure seems like everyone. Right?
Yeah.
I'm looking at the list.
A lot
like,
of them.
it's a lot of them. And always get the best price, please.
Oh
I
yeah.
know I always preach this. Just get. I mean, there's a difference between. I know it sounds stupid, but like DraftKings has Acuna at plus 350, and FanDuel has it at plus 310, and Caesars has it at plus 380. Like if you're betting these, get the plus 380 over the course of it seems like nothing now. But after the end of the season, if you just looked, you'll find that like, oh, because I got the best price, it's like it may be like $1,000 more, 1,500. I mean, depending on your
Yeah.
how much volume.
It doesn't sound like a lot to, oh, it's 5 or 10 points, whatever. Like over a big sample, it adds up to a lot. It makes a big
Oh,
difference.
$5 difference. Oh, it's like, well, what 5 times 30 days in a week, days in a month, it's $150 times 12. That's $1,800.
Yeah.
Right? So like it's like, dude, why don't you just click on the place where it has the best price and like someone will give you a mortgage payment at the end of the year. Like so, I almost have to frame it like that because it's already hard enough to be profitable sports betting as it is to beat the VIG. Like, just get the best. I mean, it's I don't know. I feel like I beat my head against the wall a lot of times for this type of stuff.
There's so many people that just don't get it. Like it's about like you have to really understand like expected value and probability. And some people just don't care. They're like, it doesn't matter if it's 375 or plus 380. It only matters if it wins. Like, and then I'm making a lot of money anyway. So it's like, no, that's not how it works.
Yeah, but I also see it from the other end of the perspective. The same thing with the bet projections. If it wasn't for those people, the lines would be so much sharper.
Oh yeah, no, we're very happy that people exist.
Right. I mean, they're the ones that are betting the bad lines. So, like, if I can't convince you, I mean, people are. I think it's more of a laziness thing. I think people understand it. It's just that it's a laziness.
That's
you mean I have to get accounts on like 5, 6, 7, 8, 10, then look at each play? Like this seems like work. I want to like, oh yeah, Stan hit home run, me bet it. You know, like that type of like Acuna.
Exactly.
Like, oh yeah, my account on FanDuel, they'll go there, they'll bet plus 310. I'll bet plus 380. Acuna will hit the home run, and they'll high-fiving. It's like, oh yeah, because I have a FanDuel. I didn't feel like opening up my Caesars account because the Caesars app is just fucking awful. Right? Because truthfully it is. I mean, I feel the pain of like of some of these. Caesars is the worst. BetMGM is close to the worst, but Caesars is by far the worst. Okay. Carty, are you going to be on Crunch Time later today? Or I don't know what your schedule is. Is today I'm on all the shows type of day? Let's talk about the same things over and over again.
That is the day for me. Yeah, I'm on Crunch Time tonight.
You can tune into Grinders Live 5:00 Eastern with Dean and the guys, the People Show, and then Crunch Time right after that with Kevin Roth. He'll give you an update later today on that the Baltimore St. Louis game. Maybe it doesn't get postponed. Maybe Lance Lynn and Kyle Bradish will be in play. We don't know, but I don't think so. So check that out later. Hit that thumbs up button on your way out the door. Those thummy thumbs don't get there on their own. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell to always know when I go live. Tomorrow's Grinders live early, so I'll be on that show with Dean. Then we'll be back on Thursday. I think Will's on, and then DJ on Friday. It's all baseball this week. There's no MMA. There's no other stuff going on, right? Not even the NBA playoffs. Maybe we'll have a show when we get to the championship, like when we do some showdown stuff. Maybe. But tune in here like you always do, Monday through Friday, 11:00 Eastern, talking about all things you're thinking about in daily fantasy, props, and pick 'em on RotoGrinders Today.